women as leaders in Ethiopian society. Let me just try to focus on only political leadership. In a way, the irony is, like, if you look into the political history of the governing party, when they were engaged in an armed struggle, like 30% of the soldiers, they were women, and they were known for taking women as partners, equal partners, in any kind of political stride. And after they came to power, they just came up with their masculine face. You know what I mean? You don't find anybody with significant influence within the party who is a woman. So even that process, the struggle of this party which is in power, which accommodates the participation of women, it didn't achieve anything. It didn't bring about anything in terms of empowering women in terms of political leadership. That's really saddening. Always equality and empowerment and all those things are directly correlated with having democracy, whether internally or in the national political sphere. So, a political party known for autocratic method of political process couldn't kind of assure equality for women in any way. When you come to opposition politics, of course, there are a lot of obstacles for women to come to political participation in the opposition. Of course, there is a cultural component into it, but there is also, this difficulty with regards to their role as a mother, or as somebody who takes care of the family affairs. I remember when we were imprisoned in 2005. Of course, many women, had to share that plight, and the saddening part was, those mothers, their suffering was kind of double-fold. They suffered as prisoners, facing that horrible condition in prison, and they suffer as mothers, leaving behind their children, and seeing the family members in the family, or the family as a whole, facing all kinds of challenge because of their absence. And even one of my co-defendants, she was a journalist, and we were in prison. She realized she was pregnant, and she had to spend that time of her pregnancy in a very bad prison condition. She had to live with 70 people in a very packed manner, you know what I mean, very narrow cell, and with all types of criminals, murderers, people who committed robbery and all kinds of crimes, and even mentally ill people, were supposed to live with us. She had to handle all that. She was having her own medical problem, and she wanted the normal prenatal care, but she didn't have it, and she had to handle that kind of living environment. And she had to give birth to her first child while we were there. So the realm of political opposition for women, the challenge it poses is kind of double-fold because of the role they have in the society as mothers, as wives, and as a responsible woman, taking care of the well-being of the family. So that is, in a way, discouraging for women to come at the forefront. But regardless of this, you find very strong women, in every level who dares to defy, who committed their life to pay the price necessary for this noble cause. But because of these cumulative factors, we don't see the participation and the participation of women in political leadership and in political participation as we need to.